So is my screen visible? Okay. So my screen is visible, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get started. So today's topic we're just going to give a brief about like what SAP system is. I know like many of them have a few years of experience, but like let's just get from the basics. So let's just freshen up all the all the basic concepts so that it will be easy going forward in the next class, right? So let's start with SAP system landscape and overview. So yes, so I guess you can see what this is enterprise resource planning, whatever I've written. Maybe the font is a little bit right. So let's see what an ERP system is, right? So first let's get to the basics. So as you can see here in the screen, we'll just first talk about what a traditional business is, how it works without an ERP system, right? And then we'll go with an ERP is implemented in any industry, how it works and what are the benefits, why an ERP system has to be introduced in the system, and why most of the industries now, 90% of the industries, they go with ERP. So as you can see here, so just stop me in the middle if I'm going very fast or something, right? Just okay. So now if you can see here the flow chart, business without ERP, you can see how, you know, how complex this looks, right? So as you know, like the first thing what starts is always a requirement, right? From a customer, me, you, just giving an example, we all are customers, right? We order on daily basis and everything. So whenever we order something, there is an industry or there is a, there is someone who has to fill that requirement, right? So this is how it works, how the industry works. So a customer, he places an order, it goes to a sales office, you can see here, and then the sales office will check first what they will do. They'll go and check in their inventory, right? Inventory or whatever. If you go and order in a shop, they will have their warehouse or a go down or whatever. They go and check if the stock is available or not. If the stock is available, yes, that's done. So they'll just they'll check the availability, and if available, the product is delivered. So when is this complication? When does this complication occur? It is always when the stock is not available.
Just a minute, Pawan.
Yes,
Just a minute. Sorry,
yes.
I'm interrupting you. Ashwath, can you mute yourself? So one request to all. So when presenter is doing presenting, right, you keep yourself mute, or else background noise will keep on coming. Okay, now it's good. Pawan, you can continue the. Sorry
Yes.
for interrupting.
No issues.
So in the first, initially you make everyone to be in mute. Then
Yes.
you can start. If anything is that they can unmute in between. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah.
Okay. Everything's fine now, right? Yeah. It's better now. Yeah. Yeah. So where was I? Yeah. So when does this complexity occur? So this is only when there is we have a demand and there is no supply, right? So when there is a demand, when the customer places an order, sales office will go and check the inventory, but the inventory doesn't have stock in it. So that's where everything comes into picture, right? So if there is a stock, there is no there is no need for anything, right? So you just take the stock and you just give it to the customer and then bill the customer and everything is done. But when there is no inventory, what will this industry do? They will have, every industry will have its manufacturing unit or a production unit, right? They will have manufacturing plant somewhere or somewhere nearby or anywhere it might be in the country or anywhere. It depends on the business, how large the business is, how the supply chain of the business works. So where the production plant or a manufacturing plant is located, right? So what they do, first thing they do is, if there is no inventory, if it is not available, they go and check the production plant, right? If it is available or not. So if the material or whatever the product is available, then again they will inform the product is manufactured and it is delivered back to the inventory, and again the same process, it goes to the sales office and then it will be delivered to the customer. Again, if there is no product in the production plant itself, what is to be done? It has to be procured from outside. So here is the main topic where our procurement comes into picture. Let's go to that later on, but just to define the complexity, where you can see, right, without an ERP system, how complex it looks like, right? So again, the production plant will go It will request for the materials or raw materials to produce it in their own manufacturing plant, right? They will go to the purchasing unit, and then these people will, the vendors who are there, they will supply it, and again it goes to the production plant, and then again, you can see, right, there are like multiple steps involved here. This is without an ERP system. It looks very complicated. So this is how a traditional or a conventional business works. How it used to work without an ERP system. There is no central system to manage everything, right? So that's where our ERP, enterprise resource planning, comes into picture, right? What is an ERP system? ERP system is a commercial software package. So I guess everyone are aware about this, right? It's a software package which promises the seamless integration of all the information flowing through the company, such as financial, accounting, human resource, supply chain, and customer information. So this is a package which is installed in a particular company, which has everything, which has all the applications in that. So for example, here you saw this first thing, it deals with the sales, and here you have procurement, here you have finance, here you have production planning, everything. So this is spread across everywhere, right? So there is no one particular data which is available. There is no central database here, right? So here ERP comes into picture. It's a central database. It eliminates all the data redundancy which is there. You can see there are a lot of data spread all over. So there is no particular system where you can manage everything, right? A particular software where you can see all the sales order, purchase order, or a production order, or whatever, a financial, statement, a GL account. Nothing is there in this. So here ERP comes into picture, right? It's a software package which is implemented in a system which will help in data redundancy. Data is updated in real time here. Everything happens in real time. So this is, let's not go brief, dig deep into it. I'm just giving a brief so that everyone are aware, because we are using this SAP software, which is an ERP software, right? So that's where we have to work on, right? So this is where ERP comes into picture. So it's just an evolution of ERP. So it was introduced in 1960s, and then how it got evolved. First, it was a material requirement planning. They had introduced it as, and then it went to MRP2, and then it became enterprise resource planning. And then with cloud solutions, it came up to, after that in 2015, there was S4HANA introduced. And before that, there was enhancement package and all ECC and all that was introduced. Let's go there later. So this is just a brief. So now how the company looks like with ERP. So this is how it looks like with the ERP system. You can see how many steps have been reduced here, right? So you have a central database here. It's a single point of entry for all the kind of database, right? So here where our SAP software, holds on, right? A customer orders, places an order. So what the sales office will go, it will go and check the availability. Everything will be stored in this database. So if it is available, informs the product is ready and places order. The product is delivered to the customer. If it is not there, from your central database only, it will go to the vendor. Vendor will check if they are available, and then it is informed, or it will go to the production plant. It is informed back, and everything. See, you can see how simple this looks like. So this is how a business with ERP looks like, right? We have a central database, a single point of entry for all type of database. It's a modular system. And data redundancy, everything is reduced here. It's a central database, and there is transparency, right? You have transparency to everything here. How much a vendor can deliver, how many products are there left in our production plant, and how many can be delivered, how long will it take to deliver to a customer, how we can promise a customer that we will deliver it at this right period, how we can generate, increase our profitability or cost saving. Everything can be done using an ERP system, right? So how the traditional business was, and how ERP, with ERP, how helpful it is for an industry to grow and to increase their capability and their supply chain management, right? So this is this is how a business looks like with an ERP system. So everyone are clear, right? What an ERP is, why it is used. Enterprise resource planning.
Yes.
Okay, this is simple. Yes. So now let's go to SAP, right? SAP is an ERP system. So this is just an overview of SAP. SAP was founded in 1972, and the headquarters is it's in Germany. And everyone, I guess, everyone has to know and has to be aware of what an SAP is. It's defined as a systems, application, and products in data processing. This is how it is defined as, and we call it as SAP, not SAP, right? We call it as SAP. And there are worldwide, like, more than, you can see the data here. So now they're going on increasing. So it's the employees all over the world are also, like, opting, and industry all over, almost 80 to 90% of the industries are opting SAP as their supply chain management software for all their solutions, right? So it's the world's largest business software company as well. So everyone knows that it's the world's largest business software company, and I guess it's the third tech software company as well after Microsoft and Google, I guess. Yeah, and the revenue. So this is just a brief what an SAP software is and how the evolution of SAP had taken place. First, in 1979, they started with R2. It's in real time. I told you, right? It's a real time data which is stored in the database. Let's not go deep into this, but just to give an overview. However, like, when we are studying SAP, we should at least know a background of it, right? A little bit background, not in depth, but how it was introduced in 1979, and then in 1992 it was an R3 system. It was released as a client server software. We'll go to that. We have three different servers, like, landscapes and SAP. We'll talk about that as well. R3, and then web-based architecture was introduced. So this is how the evolution of SAP took place, right? From R2 to now, whatever we are going to use, right? Whatever the ones in which the business scenarios are built, where the configurations we are doing all is ECC and S4 HANA system. ECC was introduced in 2004. Okay. And after that, in 2015, we came to S4 HANA, which is a new database, right? So the new database was introduced in completely new database. So right now, whatever in ECC we are seeing, it is a different database. It's an RDBMS database which they're using. So let's not go technical into that. So in S4 HANA, they introduced a completely new HANA database, which is completely from SAP. It's not a third-party database which they're using. So that's where everything changed, right? So a new user interface and everything was introduced. So till then, we are using ECC. So this is just a brief of evolution of SAP. And here I was talking about this three-tier client server architecture, right? So there are three layers. You will get to know about this. So the three layers which are there are the presentation layer, application layer, and database layer. Let's not go deep into this. Presentation layer is the one, the SAP GUI screen, which you can see. We'll go to that screen as well. I'll show you how an SAP GUI screen looks like. And there are three main layers in that. In the front layer, where you do all the presentations, and once the configuration is done, where you show all the T codes and all that, right? They are the presentation layer. And then in the middle, there will be application layer, where it takes, commands from this presentation layer, and it is handled. It's like a brain. Application layer is nothing but brain of an SAP system. It handles the entire processing load. Everything is handled in application layer. And the database which I was talking about, right? The database, the backend database, where everything, the data is stored, everything is in RDBMS. So let's not go technical into this. So this is just a brief of how the server looks like. And again, we have conceptual areas. You can see right here: application area, basis area, and development area. You will get to know about this when you start working on SAP system, right? This is where we as a functional consultant, right? What we do, our main work, right? Where we provide solutions to the customers and everything. So we work on this application layer, and this basis layer and development layer. This is where basis team and the security team works on this, regarding the authorizations or the ID creations, everything. So the technical administration of the system is done in the basis area, and there is a development area. That is nothing but completely technical, where ABAP team works on the development object and all that. So everything happens in the development area. And we as functional consultants, we initiate and execute all the SAP transactions in the application area. B, work on this application area. This is just to give a brief. Okay, basis area and the development area. You will get to know about this once you start, using the SAP GUI screen. So let's just keep this in mind. Like, we as a functional consultant, right? We work on the application area, a part of the ERP software, like the conceptual areas. Okay, so I was talking about the system landscape, right? So there are three servers, application, three landscapes which we have in SAP. There is development system, there is quality system, and there is production system. I guess most of them are aware of what a development system is. Development system is where we do all the configurations, right? All the backend configurations, everything is set up in development system, right? All your development object, everything will be configured here. We have this SPRO. We'll go to that as well, like, SPRO settings, where we as a consultant, if we know, in order to provide the solutions, we go here. We have particular clients for this as well. We'll go to that as well. So just to understand, this is the main three landscape which is there in SAP system. That is development system, quality system, and production system. And how this development object is transported from one system to another. So if you do any changes here in development system, how does it go to quality system? So it goes through a transport request. We'll see about that as well. When we go to the system, we'll get to know what a transport request is. So just I'm giving a brief from here to here. In order to go to a production system, production is a final, a go live system where, what we showcase to the client and where the client end users work, super users, end users work, it is in the production system, right? And we as a consultant, our job is to provide the solutions. Whatever the customizations we are doing, it is in the development system. And then it goes to the quality system where this UAT, user acceptance testing, and everything is done in the quality system. So once they assure that everything is fine, whatever is required is satisfied, and the changes looks good, and then it is transported to production system. So everything is done through a transport request, right? So how this object has to be transported from one system to another, it is through a TR number. This object, development object, is stored using a TR number we get. So we can see that as well, how the transport request looks like and how it is transported from one system. That everything will come into that later, on the later part. So till here, I hope everything is clear, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. This is the change and the transport request. So we'll get to that part, what the transport request looks like, how a development object is stored in this transport request, and how it is transported from our development to quality to production system, and how the go live takes place and everything. We'll get to that on later part. So this is how transport management looks like. Sorry, transport, whatever the transport request. And here, now we have this client. So let's get to that, what a client is, right? So we have a client in SAP has like 3 digits. You can see, right? Client is defined as an independent accountable business unit with an R3 system. So whatever we do, right? So we saw here the quality development system, quality system, production system, everything has its own client. Whatever the applications we build, right, in SAP ERP system, that is stored in a client, right? We have, as you can see, we have client 100, 200, 300, and everything. So when we log on into SAP, I will show you how the client, how the three-digit number for a logon client looks like. And once we log into that, we will get into a particular system. So whether it's a quality system or a development system or a production system, so everything will have its own client maintained there, right? So that's a brief about our R3, or how the clients are. It's the same in R3, or whether it's R3 or an ECC or an S/4HANA system, right? Client is always 3-digit, right? Whether it comes to production system or a quality system or a development system, it's a 3-digit number. we will get to that. We will, when we show you SAP GUI screen, right? So it'll all make sense, like where it's coming from and how it is stored and everything, right? Okay. So now this is about SAP modules. So now you got to know what an ERP system is and how it is how it's, how it's useful in an industry. You use an ERP system, and then how SAP it was evolved, and what is the landscape used in SAP, and what are the three servers which we work on as a consultant or as an end user or as an quality, how the users do this user interface testing and everything. And now let's get to the modules, right? There are various modules which SAP is supporting on, right? There is financial module, logistics module, human resource. There are a lot of modules here. You can see we have HR, finance, controlling, material management. So here is our focus on, right? We are working on module, which is material management, which is the core for everything. So we had discussed about this yesterday, right? Material management is the core for everything, because material is the product is something which is the center of everything, right? So the demand or the supply generates from the product, right? A customer orders for a product, and that's it. That's where everything starts, and you have to meet the requirement, right? So everything comes into picture after that, right? Financial, whatever the project system, logistic execution, sales and distribution. There are multiple modules which SAP has come up with, right? So the business can, based on their requirement, they can implement any of the modules. It's not that an SAP ERP system is implemented and they have to go with all the modules, right? It's not necessary that they have to go with all the modules for their supply chain management. Okay, so they can opt any of the modules which they want to, based on the packages, right? Based on that, they can either go with material management, and these are the three core modules which usually industry, whenever they implement SAP in their system: financial, accounting, material management, sales and distribution. These three modules are like, it's like a core module, so that has to be there in the system. And then later on it comes with whatever HR, quality management, asset management, production planning, plant maintenance, which Prashun discussed about, right, yesterday. So that all will come to picture. But the three core modules on which SAP stands, right, it is material management, sales and distribution, and financial accounting. Right. So financial accounting, just to give a brief, what happens in financial accounting, right? It's accounts payable, accounts receivable, general ledger, where your profit and loss statement and everything, all your finance related, whatever the statements and whatever this GL accounts and everything will be there. It is a major areas will be covered in this financial accounting, right? We have and FI integration. We will get to that later part. Right, we have automatic account determination, where when material is, when material is stored in an inventory, which GL account, how the profit and loss statement is generated, and which GL account gets hit, what accounting entries gets generated when you sell a material, how cost of goods are sold, like which account gets. There are multiple things, so that's where and FI comes into picture. Right, so we will come to that topic on later part, how the accounting entries and all are generated. But this is about financial accounting, like basic, like we have an integration with and FI as well, and this is how it looks like, financial module. And this is sales and distribution. Sales and distribution, we, when the customer orders first, orders something, product is ordered, that's where the sales activity starts, right? So sales is something, it is where, we have to fill the need of a customer, right? So again, so if there is no, if there is a demand and there is no supply, that's where we go to the procurement part of it. And then later takes place, later whatever the process which is there in the procurement process, it takes place, right? So this is how the sales and let's not go here for the deep into sales and distribution and all that. So just what we are going to cover is material management. So this we have to be, at least know like what a sales order is, what a delivery is, because we have integration with SD as well, right? As I told you, material management is a core module, so it has integration with, it's not a particular thing where you just learn and just keep in mind, right? So if you have an integration part of it, like when the GL account hits, you should know like little bit of credit and debit, how it works. When it is debited, what are the accounting entries gets hit, whether it's plus or minus. So little bit financial part of it also you should know. And when there is stock transport, there's a concept called stock transport order. There we will have SD integrated in it. We have to create an outbound delivery. When there is a demand, in a particular plant, one plant is asking one more plant that, hey, just I don't have a stock in my warehouse or in my inventory. Just give me some product, right? So that again happens between the company or between the cross company. So let's go to that on the later part. So there also we create an outbound delivery. So that delivery also, it's like a sales whatever the sales activity which you are doing, right? Procurement and sales activity there go hand in hand. So that time you should at least know like how an outbound delivery is created, how billing is done, and how an invoice is generated. So there also we have a little bit mixture of SD also. SD, sales and distribution, also will come into picture. So I'm just giving you a brief, like only finance and SD, what we do, sales order, quotation, and delivery, billing document, and all this little part will come in MM also. That we'll see about that later. And this is our main topic, right? Where we are going to discuss in depth and in detail about what material management is, what inventory management is, what is purchasing. See, as you can see here, right? These are the three main. We'll go to P2P cycle in the next class as well. So as you can see here, in purchasing, what happens? We create a PR. I won't go technical into this because yeah, we are going to discuss about this. So you can see here what a purchase. There is purchase requisition, there is request for quotation. I guess many of them are aware what this is. Once an RFQ is generated, and then we'll convert it into a purchase order, and then inventory management, we do goods receipt and invoice verification. Everything comes into picture, right? This is a particular life cycle, like we can tell a product from the manufacturing unit to reach to a customer. We'll go to that supply chain management. To reach to a customer, how the product is developed, and how the requirement is generated, and how it is stored, how this material gets stored in an inventory, how if the material is, whether it's inventory managed or warehouse managed, everything, warehouse management comes into picture after inventory management. If the factory or whatever, if the warehouse managed, then warehouse management will come into picture. So that is again a different module, warehouse management. That is again after inventory management. So we are dealing with only purchasing, inventory, and invoice, whatever we are doing it to the vendor. So in invoice, in inventory also we manage, in the plant or in the factory, based on inventory we manage all this material. So as the name suggested, material management, what does that mean? It means you're managing the material, right? How the material flow takes place, like where the material, how the materials are stored in storage location, how how you deal with the vendor, how you can get the best product at the best price, right, by using RFQ. And how initially in an industry or in a company, how the requirement generates, right? There is a requirement, and then a requisition is generated, and then how the whole cycle takes place about the master data, how the materials data or the vendor data, how it is stored in the system, right? How invoice is done, how when the goods receipt is, when the material is received in the warehouse, what we have ordered, when the material comes into the company, how it is stored. Once the material is stored, how the inventory gets affected, and how we track how much material we have received and how many materials are left, whether we can fulfill that or we need more requirement, MRP or material requirement planning, everything comes into picture. So material management is a module where it's vast. It's vast. Everything will be, almost everything will be covered in material management if you go to learn, if you go to see, right? everything. You will get a broad perspective of how a supply chain management works, right? From logistics, from production to logistics to distribution to transport, everything, right? So a supply chain management is a very big concept. So material management is a part of it, but it will cover, you know, a, a shelf, a cycle of a product, how it is purchased and how it is inventory managed and how it is sold and everything. You will get a deep, understanding using this material management. So that's why, like, most of them prefer learning material management, and it has a great scope, like, because it's not restricted to something like, you just learn and keep goes on evolving. You can, provide solutions to the customers based on, the whatever business scenarios which have come up in S4 HANA, and from ECC to S4 HANA, there are multiple solutions which they have come up with, right? So that's where material management is, it's a very, core module. When you compare to SD as well as finance also, material management is something which is, a core part of SCM, I can tell. That is just a brief about material management. And we have something called industry specific solution. I won't get deep into that. Maybe we have like someone who's working on Madhuri or someone, right, who's working on this retail as well, right? So retail is a particular industry specific solution only. We have, SAP believes that generic solutions cannot address industry specific challenges. So this is something where, in MM only we have multiple IS solutions. We are dealing with standard. Whatever we are learning now is standard. So that's how the standard package looks like. So if an industry, a particular industry, a chemical industry or an automotive industry, they will have their own needs and own requirement, right? They will have their own customized requirement. So that is also, that can be done using our customization objects, where a multiple, customized decodes and programs which can be developed. But with that, SAP has come up with a predefined industry specific solution, right? For this particular industry, if a chemical industry or a healthcare industry, they are planning to implement SAP in their software based on their needs, SAP has come up with a industry specific solution. Like, it's almost same, it's almost standard, but there is certain like difference in the material master or in the vendor or in the in different cores, right? It will have a different, set of specifications, set of customizations, which is already predefined. So that's how industry solution, look like. Let's not go there. I'm just giving you a brief. Let's not go deep into that, because we are completely working on standard software, what we have, SAP standard software. But just to give an aware, like, once you get into a company, once you start working in a project, you might end up working in an IS solution, depending on which project you are working in, right? If it is a chemical project or a pharmaceutical or whatever, healthcare, consumer goods and all, they might have IS solutions which are already implemented in their system. Or if it is an implementation project, we might get an opportunity to implement that in the system. So we as a consultant, we should know that there is something called industry specific solutions. SAP has defined, like, there are 25 distinct industry specific solutions. We have to keep that in head. That's all. We don't have to go deep into that. We will get to know that once we start working on the project. So this is just a brief that we have an industry specific solution which SAP has, it has delivered to their customers. It's a pre-customized package. Hence, it's a pre-customized package for generic industry purpose, right? That's how industry specific solution looks like. Okay, that's where I was talking about, right? Supply chain network, what I was talking about. As you can see here, this is an overall supply chain flow, which you can see. We as the customers, what we do, we just have just information with us, right? We just order, whether it is we go to a retail store, we order it online through an Amazon or whatever website it is. Our work is only to order and just to just to receive the order. But what happens beyond that, that's where we as a consultant, we should know that we are customers as well as we are the consultants, right? So we at home, we are, once we're not working, we take our phone and we order something, we are the customers. And what happens in the back end, where that order goes, and how that order is fulfilled, how, if there is no product, how it is manufactured, and after manufacturing, how it is stored in the warehouse, how it goes to the distribution center, and how from the distribution center, how it will reach the retail store, and how it fills the customer's demand. Everything comes in the supply chain network: logistics, manufacturing, warehouse, the supplier, and everything, goods and service, everything comes here. Is our main part where we deal with, right, material management. So this is just a brief of supply chain network I'm talking about. So this is our supply chain network looks like. Again, the flow, the material flow, it can happen in three ways, right? External to internal flow of raw material from supplier into the manufacturing unit. This raw material, it might, the manufacturing unit might not have the raw materials, they might order it from the supplier. That is an external procurement which you're talking about. We'll go in depth about the P2P cycle in tomorrow's class. So just to give a brief, that will be an external procurement, right? If a manufacturing unit doesn't have raw material to produce, so what they will do, they will ask the suppliers outside, the best supplier they will quote, and the best supplier, they will strike a deal with the best supplier, and then they win the quote, and then that's how contracts and everything is generated. So that will be what the flow is, how the flow takes place externally, external to internal. From outside it's going inwards, right? So that is one kind of material flow which we can talk about. Or an internal flow of material within the manufacturing facilities as they are processed. So within the manufacturing facility, they might have raw material inside itself, and they might, they might use that raw material to produce a finished product, and they might distribute it to warehouse. So internal to internal flow also is possible. And again, after internal to internal is again what I was talking about, to internal to external, from external to internal, internal to internal, internal to external. That is customer, how the product is produced, and then how it is distributed to the customer. That is from internal. From warehouse it goes to distribution center, and then it goes to retail store, and then it is delivered to the customer. Flow of finished goods from the manufacturing facility to the end customers. This is the basics of how a material flow takes place, right? External to internal, internal to internal, internal to external. So this basic material flow you should have in your head, right? You should know how the material flows, right? So this is how. So what we are discussing on in this course, we are going to focus on external to internal phase, flow of raw materials from supplier into the manufacturing unit or sales facility. That's where our material management comes into picture. This internal to external, it is dealt with the sales and distribution. They will supply outbound delivery, they create and they do the billing and they give it to the customer. But the main thing is here it comes into picture, right? When the manufacturing unit doesn't have any product, raw materials, how they deal with the supplier, how it comes to the warehouse here, manufacturing unit, how it is stored here, and how we distribute. That's where material management comes into picture. So that's where we are working on, right? We as a consultant, how we configure all this enterprise structure and everything. We will talk about enterprise structure and everything in the next class, how org structure, everything looks like, and basics of P2P cycle, right? In the system, we will see that. Today, it's just an overview of landscape and what a supply chain network is. So here, this part is very important, where we are working on as a consultant, how we deal with the suppliers, how we get the raw materials at the right price at the right time. It's not only about the price, it's about the time also, right? Cost saving and everything. Because a customer orders a product, and he or me or you will expect a product to be delivered within maybe 5 days, or depends on the availability of the product. And if the manufacturer, if they are not able to manufacture the product, and if the supplier takes like a lot of time to even give the raw materials to the manufacturing unit, and they produce the raw material, and then it goes and delivers the customer. If it takes 1 month, right, where is the customer satisfaction? So everything goes, and then next time the customer is not going to order at all. So this is the core point, where if there is an order, how fast you can deliver how fast you can manufacture that using the raw material, and with how cheap, how with using cost saving methods, how you can get the raw materials and manufacture, and how you can distribute to the customer. So this plays very important role. So that's where our material management and inventory management comes into picture, right? So this is a very important part of supply chain network. And then here logistics and transport, SD, everything comes into picture, finance and everything comes into picture, right? This is a part of our supply chain management. This is the flow which I was talking about. And this is again the same thing which I was talking about, the business cycle, how it works in sales. The sales order is created here, MRP is run in the manufacturing unit, in the procurement, whatever the raw material we get and everything. This is the same thing which I was talking about in manufacturing unit. They produce, the stock is, product is stored in inventory, and logistics and shipping, where they do the delivery, and in finance where it is, the amount is paid. Sorry for the, there is some disturbance outside. Sorry for that. You can hear me, right? 1 minute.
Yes, Pawan, no issues.
1 minute. Someone outside, someone is playing something. 1 minute. Oh, sorry. I'm audible right now.
Yes, Pawan, able to hear you.
Yes. So this is about the business cycle. What I was explaining now, it's a normal business cycle. This is where everything comes into picture. Our material management comes into picture here. Purchase requisition, request for quotation, vendor selection, purchase order. These all are these terms. Everything we'll talk about it in the tomorrow's and the upcoming classes, right? You will get everything in detail, what a purchase order is, what a purchase requisition is, how a purchase requisition is created, how it is converted into a purchase order, and from purchase order, how it goes to the vendor. And once the vendor delivers the goods receipt is done in the system, and how the invoice verification is done. Everything comes in the procure to pay cycle. We will discuss about this in the tomorrow's topic. And the org structure of this our ERP system, how the org structure is maintained, everything will be discussed in tomorrow's session, how the org structure looks like. So let me just, so this is for today's topic, but let me just take you to the SAP screen just to give you a brief how an SAP screen looks like. I don't know if most of them might have installed this already in their system. So this is how the SAP logon screen looks like. So here we have to, there will be an application server. You will get an application server and the system name. You have to just create the new system with an application ID and everything. So once it is installed, this is the SAP logon pad. Prashun, you have it open?
I think, yeah, I'll share my screen because
Okay.
might be that system is down now, Hana.
Yeah.
Can I give access to share?
Yes.
And I'll set up for the ECC system for you today.
Yes.
There's an option in the security, you can share screen option. If once you give it, so all can share this.
Yes, I give.
Yeah. Okay. This is a logon pad. There you can see 770 final release. That is the latest GUIs will be used in all the is used in the organization, most of the organization. And you most of you, like you have added your server here. Okay, one you can see if I click on this properties, then I can show you the description, system ID, instance number, application server. Okay, this is the backend server setup will be done by a different team, not like functional consultant. Okay, how this login will happen once you click on this, so you can get into the next screen, which shows, which will have a user ID, password, and client. Already Pawan explained about the client, which is 3-digit. He will explain more about that even in the tomorrow session. Okay, so how exactly you can log in by adding the user ID and password. Okay, this user ID password will be given to you. for each individual. You will get separate user ID password. Then once you enter user ID password here, you can able to see the SAP Easy Access. As I already explained by Pawan, he is going to start the enterprise structure and even the P2P cycle, how it works in like in couple of days. Like we are not covering everything together. Okay, so tomorrow I might be he's covering on the SAP or structure.
Yes, yes.
How exactly in the backend that should be configured and defined. Okay, and the session will be is combination of both. It is like somewhere Pawan will explain about the end user perspective, how end user run the transaction on everyday basis, and how consultant will work on the back end. Okay, and
Yes.
about the implementation project, rollout project, support project, upgradation project, that I will talk once you understand the standard procedure and standard technical stuffs which is in the system. So that will be taken care after once Pawan complete all the technical uh, activities in the system. So this is SAP Easy Access. You can see the end user who is a business user already SAP is implemented in the system. Okay, they want to run something to create material. How exactly that happens? You just go to logistics, material management, and purchasing, and you can see here master data. So in the master data, you can see info record, source list, vendor, like that. Few master data will be there. In case you want to create a material, then under purchasing only you can see material master. Just click on this. This is called node. Okay, you can always say this is node, NODE. And when you go inside of this, you can find a executable option. Means this is the execution. Once you click on this is MM01, which will take you to the screen where user can enter the data and that can be stored in the system. So this will be explained briefly what is what. Okay, so whether it is possible to run without going through this pass, yes, it is possible by adding the command here by typing MM01, and it will take you to the screen where you can enter the details. This is two method you can follow as an end user. Okay, end user perspective also Pawan will explain as I already told before. Okay, now what would be the activity is taken by a consultant? How consultant will help or modify or design or configure and give a solution to the client or company where SAP is already implemented or to be implemented. Okay, where they are trying to move from other ERP system to SAP. Then how it works? There is a transaction called SPRO. Okay, you can go with this command or you can go with the path also. Where you can find the path, that to go to tools, customizing, then IMG and SPRO. And you don't want to remember all this transaction code. You want to see somewhere in the favorites in the top area. Then you can make it right click and click on add to favorites. Then it will always show in your favorites. Example, I have gone through logistics, then purchasing, sorry, yeah, here logistics, I can see material master and immediately you can create the material, but you don't want to go with this path. It is difficult and you're not able to remember this path. Then click on this add to favorites. So that will come in your favorites. So then next time you can directly click on this. It will take you to the background screen. Okay, this is a screen where you can the customizing execute project. SAP reference IMG. This is icon. When you click on this icon, it will take you to the screen where you can do the customization. So these all details will be explained by Pawan in every session. So even how that will be happened, like every day he will show about the process in the system, like in the PPT or in the Word file. Then he'll come to SAP and he'll run it like parallelly. The business process and technical activity will be taken care, so you will understand much better. Okay, that's it from my end. So if any open questions are there, please come up and ask. Then we can close it. So this is the screen where Pawan is going to explain about the enterprise structure. Before doing this enterprise structure in the system, he will explain the business, what I can say, the enterprise structure, how it looks in a business, what are all the units will come into picture. All that he will briefly explain, and he'll get into this. I hope it is clear for all. Thanks, Pawan. Yeah, it's a question Q&A now for all. And
Yes.
one thing, yeah, every screen or session, you just give a pause and you can ask questions, whether any doubts,
Sure.
as much as possible, to ask audience to put question on you.
Yes.
It went well. I was really happy. I'm really happy with your the way you presented. It's excellent. And let's ask our team, our aspirants,
Yes.
to give a feedback or ask questions out of the session.
Yes. Anyone, like, please unmute yourself and
Nisarg, Sarita, Avadut, Ashwath, Shavir, Deepika, Madhuri.
As of now, sir, no question from my side.
Okay, Madhuri
okay.
is acknowledged. Okay.
Yeah, so at the moment there is no question, but it seems to be well structured. So I don't know, I mean, how the background of all, but nobody knows the P2P cycle. So we are starting, you are starting with very scratch. So it will help everyone to understand the first business process and then how to implement it in SAP, and how this transport request was. Today I come to know that, okay, this is a transport request and this is the logic behind it to work on that. I mean, how it works. But that's good session, yeah.
Thank you, Nisarg. Yes, again, just to put a point, right, as you told, learning SAP and the business, right, it is a little different. It's very important to understand the business perspective as well. So when you implement it in SAP, right, so it will be very easy. So if you just know the SAP technology, it's not enough. You should know the business perspective of it as well, because everything happens in the business, and business users will have their own requirements and all that. And then we, as a consultant or as an end user, whoever is working in the SAP system, they, whatever we implement the solution or whatever we work on, so we have, it's very important to understand the business part of it as well. So that's where it will be very easy to work on SAP system if you know how the business works, how the goods are supplied and how it is stored and everything. So it is going to be very easy.
True. And even the last page, what you showed, the organization structure in
Yes.
business and in SAP. So
Yes.
nobody can relate directly if you explain in SAP the how it is going to correlate. Yeah, but that's right.
Yeah, we'll cover on that completely in the next session. So
Yeah, even that will be, we will give more time on that to understand the enterprise structure, why exactly it is to be done, why SAP will not give that directly to you, and how we as a consultant will configure, and why it is to be configured, why directly you can give that software to a client. Okay, example, you purchase a mobile and you just start using it, but somewhere you have to do some setting in the mobile, and you are not interested to do that, and you give to someone and he'll do and give it back. The same way in SAP. So you may get the standard application which is available, which is already developed by SAP, which is SAP Germany, like I can say the product based company. But somewhere someone like a service based company or any other service support software company who take up that services, like I will do that, I'll do it for this, this is my business, I will take up this to this client, I will implement, and whatever questions or solutions are required, I am the responsible person to deal with that, like that. So that all things will be explained by Pawan. If anything missed out or something which required from my end, I may add maybe in the weekends or maybe whenever I get into you guys in the live meetings. Okay, so don't hesitate to ask any questions, or keep yourself attentive in whole complete session, and unmute immediately, and I felt very happy today. All followed our instructions. After acknowledging, immediately unmuted yourself, and session went well. And there is no much disturbance, or there's no distractions, and it was like a class session, I can say. Thanks to Pawan and all.
Thanks, Prashant.
Avadut, do you have anything with the process? I think you are already know
No,
about.
as it is an introduction. Yeah, that is what I'm saying. As it was a introductory part, so it was well.
Okay.
Prashun, I have one doubt.
You can ask to Pawan. Pawan is
Yes, yes.
your point of contact, so you have to ask questions to Pawan only. Anything
Yes.
missed out, I will add on.
Okay. Pawan, actually, I understood, but a small confusion between these two. Can you say exactly what is inventory, what is warehouse?
Okay. So, from a material management perspective, right? So we as a material management consultant, so just to give a difference between what an inventory is and what a warehouse is. So we have in our org structure, we have something called, company. After that, there is a company code. We'll get about that tomorrow. But once there is a plant, under plant, in the plant or factory, which we call it as, right? We have something called inventory. You know what an inventory is, right? Where the material is stored. So it is stored under different levels. Okay, it might be stored for us as a material management consultant. Our lowest level is, highest level is the company code, and the lowest level is inventory. Storage location, it is the lowest level is. So the materials which flow from the vendor, it comes and stores in the storage location. That is the maximum level in the plant, in the inventory management. But if we come to warehouse management, right? So warehouse management is implemented, again, it is a module which is implemented not by all the plants. So if their warehouse, if their plant has it has its complexity, it is very complex to store the materials, right? If the plant is simple, they will just go with inventory management. It will be stored in storage location level. But if their warehouse is very complicated, right? If multiple, they work with fast moving, slow growing materials, or fast moving materials, or multiple different kind of raw materials and all. Basically, just to put in a simple way, it is a complex warehouse, complex plant, inventory management. So that time they will come with WM, which is warehouse managed. So that time what we do, we have to extend inventory management. We extend our plant and storage location, what I was talking about, to warehouse. There is again warehouse, what you call a warehouse number and everything in enterprise structure. Completely tomorrow in total, when I explain you the enterprise structure, you will get to know the difference between inventory management and warehouse management. But for now, just remember that inventory management, the materials are stored in storage location, and when it comes to warehouse management, we have something other than storage location. We have in depth. After storage location, there is storage types, there is storage units, then there is storage bin, and then there is quant. So if I tell you that now, you might get confused. So from an MM perspective, just remember the lowest level where the material is stored is storage location. We deal with from company code, purchase org, plant, storage location. Till there is inventory management. After that comes in depth, I told you, right? After that comes storage type, storage unit, storage bin, that all are, managed in warehouse management. So only when the warehouse is, when the plant or the inventory is complicated, they implement warehouse management. For now, we just go with inventory management. From MN perspective, it's only till inventory management, that is storage location level. Is it clear?
Yeah, now I understood.
Got it, right? So you don't have to worry about that enterprise structure. When we see tomorrow, you will get to know what is the difference, why warehouse management is needed, and like I will explain till inventory management, and I'll just give you a brief about warehouse also, how the enterprise structure after inventory looks like. Don't worry about that.